NFL overtime is weird. After 60 minutes of strategic violence, both teams meet at midfield to face the random judgment of coin-based legal tender. Money is the god of NFL. Why would it be any different? However, even a simple coin toss is not without controversy or confusion, and it can end in a heartbeat without your team's offense seeing the field. A very unsatisfactory ending for players and fans alike. Hello everybody and welcome to Shut Up Football. I'm Jeff Stoltzfus, that's Kevin, and this week, we can't shut up about NFL overtime. We'll look at the rules, why they suck and how to fix it. Fix it? Heck yes we can. That's the kind of power we have as fans. Our voice is so strong that owners have to listen. If you like football and you know it, subscribe to this YouTube channel. We talk football, we talk fantasy, and sometimes we're even funny. Mostly not. Now, before I become a complainerist, let's explain what the current NFL overtime rules are. At the end of regulation playing time, the referee shall immediately toss a coin at the center of the field. The visiting team captain is to call the toss. Hey, how you doing? I'm Tom Brady. Don't say it. Don't you say it. I'm better than you. Ah! Both teams must have the opportunity to possess the ball once during the extra period, unless the team that receives the opening kickoff scores a touchdown on its initial possession, in which case it is the winner. If the team that possesses the ball first does not score on its initial possession, the team next scoring by any method shall be the winner. If the team that possesses the ball first scores a field goal on its initial possession, the other team, the second team, shall have the opportunity to possess the ball. If the second team scores a touchdown on its possession, it is the winner. So, to recap, win the coin toss. Score a touchdown, win the game. Yay! Win the coin toss, score a field goal, then the second team gets the ball. If they score a touchdown, win the game. Yay! But if the second team doesn't score at all, the first team wins the game. Yay! But if the second team does score, but it's only a field goal, we're still tied and the next score of any kind by either team wins the game. Sudden death! Death! Of course, there's really two overtime rules, one for regular season and one for playoffs. Regular season overtime runs a maximum of 10 minutes and it can end in a tie. I didn't know it could end in a tie. Well, it can. Playoff overtime is 15 minutes and it can't end in a tie. Wait, so what happens if no one wins at the end of 15 minutes? They just keep going! If the score is tied at the end of a 15-minute overtime period, or if the second team's initial possession has not ended, another overtime period will begin, and play will continue regardless of how many 15-minute periods are necessary. At the end of the fourth overtime period, you heard me right, there will be another coin toss, and play will continue until a winner is declared.
There can be only one.
So what's the problem? It's been working like this with only minor tweaks for over 20 years. I am an insiderist who shuns things like change because it's scary and confusing, like female anatomy. I mean, do we even need change? It's confusing. Get in the Wayback Machine and go back 10 seconds. What I just read was confusing. Not beyond comprehension, but neither is the self-checkout at the grocery store, and I watch people struggle with that too. They start every overtime with the ref explaining the rules because it's confusing. We just watched an entire 60 minutes of football and now there's all these ifs, ands, or buts. You get your conjunctions off my field. Equal opportunity is not afforded to both teams. It's not fair. Possessing the ball is dependent on a coin flip. In the 11 playoff games that went to overtime under the NFL's current OT system, the coin flip winner won the game 90% of the time. If you include the regular season, it drops down to about 53% of the time. So if you feel like whoever wins the coin toss wins the game, it's not 100% true. But it is what is most likely. Why? The league has shifted to favor the offense. Some of that is for player safety reasons, like the increase of roughing the passer calls, which is, in theory, good. I mean, you want to keep people safe, but it's hard to watch some of them in practice. Sometimes ref laundry explodes just for getting near the quarterback. There's a notion that if teams just play defense, they won't lose. but the league has geared itself towards favoring offenses. If only one team plays defense, they are at a competitive disadvantage from the coin flip. So change is needed, but before we go all half-cocked and willy-nilly with ideas, we should explore how other leagues handle overtime. The NCAA sports a similar setup. Teams meet at midfield and flip a coin. Winner gets to choose whether they start on the offense or defense. Each team starts at the opponent's 25-yard line and play commences until they either score, turn the ball over, or run out of downs. If they both score the same number of points, they go to another overtime. After the first one, there's no extra point kicks. They must go for 2-point conversions. If a third overtime is reached, they start going for alternating 2-point conversions. It's a little complicated, but ultimately fair. The XFL has come and gone multiple times, but it's worth giving their rules a look because they have often solved the no-fun league's issues with sports betting fever dreams and acid-laced Fury Road ideas. In the XFL, each team is afforded 5 rounds, or 5 plays, from the 5-yard line to try and score a touchdown. Whichever team scores more points after 5 rounds wins. That's it. It's that simple. It's offensively motivated, and it's fair. In the Canadian Football League, overtime is played in mini-games that start at the 35-yard line. First possession is determined by a coin toss. Fucking coins! Each team gets the same number of possessions. They must attempt 2-point conversions. No kicky. So whether you start at the 5, the 25, or the 35-yard line, they all have similar ideas on how to approach overtime. And they all seem to agree that the only fair thing to do is give everybody an equal chance. By the way, if you're wondering, why doesn't the NFL just give both teams equal chance? It's been brought up. A lot. As recently as 2019, the Chiefs proposed to make such a change. It received such little support they didn't even officially vote on it. But who even votes on this stuff? These guys, the owners. This group of elderly billionaires didn't support it. Why? One can only guess. Scratch that, I can guess. Imagine you're an NFL owner. I'll give you the St. Louis Prairie Dogs. They're adorable. In between swimming in your money bin and shining your perineum with the coffers of the proletariat, you get a tap on your shoulder. Excuse me, sir. There's a problem with NFL overtime rules. Oh, is there? Apparently, it's not fair. Walk into the ocean, Jeeves. Very good, sir. They're not incentivized to make change. Why would they be? Remember how the Chiefs' proposal wasn't even voted on? 2 years later, they benefited from that lack of change when they won the coin toss in overtime of the playoffs and won the game without the Bills ever seeing the ball. In my opinion, there are 3 major considerations when addressing overtime. Number 1. Fans might want more football, but one of the major issues with overtime is injury. What good is a victory if you lose your starting QB for the season when his ankle gets rolled up on? 2. No matter who gets the ball first, people want to believe that each team has an equal chance of winning in overtime. And 3, just like a movie, people want to see their stars. The skilled position players need to be on the field. I'd rather any of the previous ideas than the current NFL overtime rules. But they aren't the only ideas. Here are a few of my own, and one I stole. A field goal shootout! The kicker is probably the most maligned, least appreciated position in all of football. Call me crazy, but I say, lean in. Embrace the fact that they are a specialist and give them overtime. Similar to how the NHL overtime has shootouts, give each team's kicker a round of escalating distance field goals. Pros, nobody gets hurt. It's weird. Kickers become more important. Is that a good thing? Maybe. Cons. You actually learn the name of your team's kicker. All your stars are on the sideline praying to a god who will never love them back. God's an LPGA fan. I don't expect anyone to get on board with this idea. I'm fully aware that it's a frustrating notion to determine a game with field goals, but it does kind of make sense, and it would add a new dynamic. The spot and choose. This idea was proposed by the Ravens in 2021. One team picks the yard line and the other picks whether they want to play offense or defense. Basically, I cut the cookie in half and you choose which half you want to eat. Which works great for cookies. Great, now I want cookies. On the surface, it sounds fair, but think about it. I mean, really think about how it's likely to happen. You're probably not going to choose the 50-yard line because that's field goal range for some kickers. You're never going to choose their 1 yard line because they'll just choose offense and score. You could choose your 1 yard line. Maybe you'll get a safety or they fail to drive the length of the field. But if they do, you still never saw the ball. It still doesn't feel right. If there's one good choice, then it's not a choice. It's just the illusion of a choice. Ultimately, this proposal was shot down by the league due to lack of support. The hurry-up overtime. The one thing from regulation gameplay that is missing from overtime with college, XFL, and CFL is the clock. I like the clock. I like that it's part of the game. So my idea is incorporate that into overtime, but not another quarter. The clock here is drive-based. Each team starts with the ball on their own 10-yard line. 2 minutes, no timeouts, drive the field and score. It's basically the same as the other non-NFL formats, except I'm leaning into the hurry-up offense, the clock, and forcing them to use the length of the field. And that's it. Those are all the alternative ideas for overtime. Well, I do have one more idea. The no overtime. Hear me out, because this one's gonna sound a little cuckoo. At the end of regulation, there's a brief timeout, and then they just keep playing. First to score wins. That's it. No coin flip, no kickoff, no clock, no timeouts. Whatever down and distance the game ended on, just keep playing. Patrick Mahomes had it on his own 3-yard line. That's where overtime resumes play. The idea might not be the best. It doesn't solve all the problems I've been talking about this whole time, but it's so simple. No one has to assemble at midfield and talk about the rules. Nothing gets flipped. You don't have to fight about who gets the ball. They already have the ball. You just break to sell some Pepsi and tampons, and then it's business as usual. I think it's only a matter of time before change does come to NFL overtime. I just hope it's fair and not some half measure that leaves everyone groaning. If you have better ideas on how to fix overtime, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear them. Thanks again for watching Shut Up Football. We do appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
Hawkeye? What's his superpower? Oh, he's accurate? Uh-oh, is he punctual too?